All right, let's dive into an incredible story. It's ancient, it's powerful, and it's all about purpose, rebellion, and ultimately redemption. It's the story of a man who was given a divine mission and then did everything in his power to run in the exact opposite direction.
So what does happen when you try to run from your destiny? This is really the core question of the whole story. It's about that tension between what we want to do and that bigger purpose we might feel we're being called to. So what happens when you just decide, nope, I'm going my own way? Well, let's find out. Okay, so our story kicks off with a man named Jonah. He's a prophet, and he's given a very specific mission. And in his mind, it is the worst possible assignment he could imagine. This whole first part is just about him trying desperately to get out of it. Now, to really get why Jonah is so against this, you have to understand Nineveh. This place was, well, it was a huge, powerful city, but it was also seen as incredibly wicked. And more than that, they were enemies of Jonah's people. So the idea of waltzing in there to preach wasn't just scary, it felt wrong to him. Like, why on earth would God want him to go save his enemies? It just didn't make any sense.
So what's his move? He runs. I mean, literally. God says, go east to Nineveh. And Jonah, he books it for Tarshish, which is in the complete opposite direction. We're talking as far west as he could possibly get. This is not him getting lost. This is a full-on deliberate, I'm not doing it moment.
And just like that, he finds his ship heading for Tarshish, pays the fare, and hops on board. You know, it's such a normal human thing to do. He probably thought, okay, if I can just put an entire ocean between me and this problem, I'm free. I can escape God's call. But as you can probably guess, it's not going to be that simple. All right, so here's where things start to go wrong. Because, of course, every action has a consequence, right? And Jonah's little escape plan, it doesn't bring him peace. Oh no, it unleashes absolute chaos on everyone unlucky enough to be near him. Suddenly, this insane storm just comes out of nowhere and slams into the ship. And we're not talking about a little bad weather. The text calls it a great tempest. This thing is so violent that these professional, seasoned sailors, guys who spent their whole lives on the water, are completely freaking out. They've never seen anything like it. They're terrified the ship is literally going to be ripped to shreds. Total panic. For these guys, this doesn't feel natural. It feels personal, like something or someone is angry. They're desperately trying to figure out what's going on, and pretty soon, all eyes turn to the one passenger who's been keeping to himself, Jonah. And that's when he spills it, the big confession. Jonah comes clean with everything. He tells them, yeah, I serve the Lord, the God who created the sea and the land, and I'm running from him. He basically admits this whole terrifying storm is his fault. He's the reason they're all about to die. You can just imagine the mood on that ship. This grim realization hits them. They ask Jonah, okay, so what do we do? How do we make this stop? And Jonah, he knows. He knows there's only one solution. The problem has to go. His answer is just shocking. He tells them, throw me into the sea. He understands that he has to be sacrificed to save these innocent sailors. It's a crazy thing to ask, but it's the only way. And the second they do it, the sea just goes completely calm, just like that. So, that brings us to this massive turning point in the story. Jonah is in the water, sinking, but his story is nowhere near finished. He's about to face his reckoning, but it's not death that's waiting for him. It's something way, way stranger. So as Jonah is sinking down into the deep, God sends a giant fish, and it swallows him whole. Can you even imagine that? The pure terror and hopelessness? You go from a raging storm right into total suffocating darkness, trapped inside some massive sea creature. But you know, this place, the belly of the fish, it's more than just a physical location. It's a metaphor. It's the abyss. It's that rock-bottom moment we all have or hear about. That point of complete surrender where you have nowhere else to go and you're forced to just confront yourself and the mess you've made. And it's from that place, from the absolute darkness, that Jonah finally, truly prays. He owns up to everything, his sin, his stubbornness, his fear. And in that moment of surrender, everything clicks into place. He gets it. He finally understands. And that one moment of clarity, it changes absolutely everything. It kicks off the final act of the story, which is all about rebirth, acceptance, and finally finding that purpose he tried so hard to run from.
So after 3 days and 3 nights in the dark, the fish spits Jonah out onto dry land. He's alive, he's been given this unbelievable second chance. So when God calls on him again, go to Nineveh, his answer this time is totally different. He knows he was saved for a reason, that he was brought back from the dead for this exact mission. And this time, he's ready. He says, I will go.
So if you look at his whole journey, you can really see the steps of his transformation, can't you? First, there's the call, his mission. Then comes the flight, his big nope moment of disobedience. That leads directly to the fall, being thrown into the sea. And that forces the surrender, his prayer from the abyss. And only after all that does he get the rebirth, that second chance to actually do what he was meant to do.
And that kind of leaves us with one big question, right? Jonah had to go through a literal storm and the belly of a fish to finally get on board with his purpose. It really makes you wonder, what storms are we going through? What are the abyss moments in our own lives that might actually be the very thing we need for our own second chances?